Hey kiddos, we're going to wrap up chapter 11. We had it kind of stopped at an interesting point last time where Shane had started reading the paper that Joe had written for him, and it was pretty fun. All right, I ignored him and stared at the chalkboard like I didn't know what he was talking about. I was scared out of my mind because I had no doubt he had every intention of beating me up after school. Now I just wanted to go home. Joe, Miss Cox said, let's hear your paper. I'm sure it was very entertaining. I couldn't move. I didn't know. I couldn't move. She didn't know I didn't have a paper, and I didn't want to admit it. She knew I was a writer and had faith I could do it over the weekend. I swallowed hard. I don't have it, I whispered. My only excuse. My fox ate my homework. A couple of kids snickered. I hate it when that happens, one kid complained. I see, Miss Cox said. Do you remember what you wrote? The truth was, I did. It was about my friendship with Tommy in the second grade. I wrote it in minutes because it flowed out of my mind with ease. Every word. She motioned towards the chalkboard. Come up here and tell us about it. I can at least give you some of the credit. I was leery to do it, but if it kept me out of trouble, then I didn't have any other choice. All I had to do was get out of my seat, walk up to the chalkboard, and tell everyone about my old best friend Tommy. There was only one problem. I was scared out of my mind to speak in front of a bunch of people I didn't know yet. I had once heard it was easier to speak in front of people if you imagined everyone naked. I doubted it was true because I didn't want to imagine anyone naked. What's it going to be? Miss Cox asked. Melissa leaned across her desk and touched my arm. You can do it, Joe. I believe in you. The way she said it made me believe in myself. I stood up, took a deep breath, and walked to the chalkboard. When I turned around, all I could see was a handful. When I turned around, all I could see were hundreds of eyes looking back at me. There were at least 30 kids there, but it felt like a lot more. The room seemed so small at the moment. Go ahead, Joe, Miss Cox said. We're almost out of time. That was great. I was going to be the last one making the speech that day. If only one other person could have gone before me. My best friend's name is... I froze when I remembered what the fox had said to me the night before. If you ever need a friend, just look for me. I started over again with words I had never wrote. My best friend's name is Fox. I've only known him for a few days, but I feel like I've known him my entire life. He's taught me a lot of things about myself, and there are many more things I want to show him. I look through the class with more confidence. Fox has taught me to laugh at myself and not take life too seriously. He taught me to go after the things I want in life and achieve what I never thought was possible. I smiled when I thought of the other thing. He taught me to stay away from rotten eggs because they smell like farts. Everyone in class laughed. Even Miss Cox couldn't keep a straight face. I did my best to keep talking without laughing with them. I don't know if I'll ever see Fox again, but he'll always be my best friend. I remembered how Mrs. Hunter got her husband to buy chocolate from me. My great-grandma had been her best friend, and even though my great-grandma wasn't around anymore, Mrs. Hunter would always do what she could to help her family. That was true friendship. He feels like family to me now, I said to the class. Maybe that's what a best friend really is. Miss Cox stood up and smiled. That was very nice, Joe. Thank you. Some of the kids clapped for me. I went back to my desk and sat down. Melissa told me that I did an amazing job. I didn't know if it was amazing or not, but I meant everything I had said. I didn't want the day to end because when it did, I knew I would never see my best friend again. All right, kiddos, the next chapter, Monday afternoon. My Uncle Mike picked me up from school that afternoon. I was glad I didn't have to take a long trip home with my mom while she was mad at me. I should never have told her about Fox. I don't know why I expected her to believe such a crazy story. My stomach churned as we got closer to the house. We were going to pack up my belongings and leave forever. How was school? My uncle asked. It turned out to be a pretty good day. I didn't get in trouble for not having my paper. I became better friends with Melissa. Shane went home early because he told the school nurse he never felt so sick in his life. I knew the reason he had left was because he was too embarrassed to stay at school. It was okay. When we got home, I walked as slowly as I could inside. I felt drained. There you are, my mom said. When we walked in, Mr. and Mrs. Hunter were sitting on the couch with her. They both said hi to me. My Uncle Mike put a hand on my shoulder. I'll load some of these boxes in the truck. He pointed to the boxes along the wall that he and my mom must have packed. There wasn't many because the house had already been furnished the way my great-grandma had left it. We mostly had clothes and kitchen utensils packed up. Use the restroom if you need to, my mom said to me. We're leaving in about an hour. I put my backpack down. I hadn't eaten anything all day. With the butterflies in my stomach, I didn't have an appetite. I'm good. We hate to see you leave, dear, Mrs. Hunter said to my mom. I wish you had more time. So did I. Mr. Hunter's knees cracked when he stood up and came over to me. Maybe it's for the best, he said to everyone. This house is older than I am. He grinned and chuckled. It even survived the Great Depression of the 30s. I remembered learning about the Great Depression at my last school in the city. The stock market had crashed and a lot of people lost their money. It affected everyone and made life really hard. Mr. Hunter stood in front of me. We came by because we were going to ask if you could watch our place for us while we are gone. Mow the lawn, water the plants. He shook his head. We're going up to our home in Wyoming for the spring and summer. Oh, well, now I knew for sure life wasn't fair. They would have paid me to do it. Let's go, he said to his wife. She said her goodbyes and joined him by the door. He knocked twice on the old wooden door frame. Yep, older than dirt. Thank you for the money, I told him. As they walked out, I was referring to the 35 he'd given me for the chocolate. He winked at me and looked over the house from the outside. She really is old. Back when she was built, people didn't have a lot of money and didn't trust the banks. He shook his head and pulled his wife along. A lot of them kept their money under their mattresses. I froze. My lumpy mattress. I rushed inside and told my mom to meet me in the bedroom. I was breathing hard, and she asked me if I was okay. I didn't know yet. Was it possible? My great-grandma had died without a penny to her name. She didn't have any bank accounts, but she survived for decades selling rotten eggs. Did she have money hidden all along? I stared at my lumpy mattress when my mom walked into my room. Is everything okay? She asked. We need to finish packing and get on the road. My heart wouldn't stop racing. I felt like I was going to faint. I need your help. We need to push this mattress up against the wall. She made a tisking sound with her tongue. We're not taking that with us. Uncle Mike has a bed for you. I looked up at her and pleaded with my eyes. I know you don't believe everything I've told you lately, but I need you to trust me right now. I have to see what's beneath this mattress. She looked at me and nodded her head. Okay, Jonah. We stood side by side, pushed with all our strength to heave the mattress up against the wall. I lost my balance and collapsed beneath the monstrous weight. We stared back and stared at what was left beneath the mattress. I looked up at my mom. Her eyes looked as if they were about to explode out of her head. More money than I had ever seen lie in front of us. It was dollar bills stacked in ones, fives, 20s, 50s, and hundreds. There were more stacks than I could count. Mom, I said, gasping for air, is this enough for what we need? She smiled, wrapped her arms around me, screamed like she was at a rock and roll concert. That was awesome! It's more than enough, she said in a broken voice. We don't have to leave. She let go of me and danced around the room, laughing in a way I'd never heard. She was the happiest I'd ever seen her. I reached down and touched a stack of cash to make sure it was real. This kind of thing didn't happen to kids like me. I had never even won a game of duck, duck, goose. I felt like gold. It felt like gold in my fingers. I couldn't wait to tell Fox that I didn't have to dig a hole to China. We could be best friends forever now.